Hey, we're going to be talking with Melissa of Stygian Crown. Let's see. Oh, where'd she? Oh, Melissa? Oh, hi. Can you see me? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I can see you.
Yep.
How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm in my car. I'm at work. So I don't look very heavy metal today, but
That's okay.
hopefully that's okay.
That is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure I'm pronouncing the name of the band right, because I've been practicing. So is it Stygian?
Understood.
Stygian Crown?
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
Okay.
How is my audio? Is it okay?
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I could hear you.
Okay.
It's
Okay,
not
great.
breaking up. So I'm trying this
Good.
new app. Well, not new, but new to me because I was having trouble on Zoom. Like it would just come on and say,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're unstable." I'm like,
Yeah, that's annoying.
"Yes, it
I
is."
get it.
So I was like, "I'm gonna try this on my phone." So far so good.
Good.
Um, can you tell us like what is the band working on right now?
Well, we've completed our second album, our sophomore album. It's called Funeral for a King, and it is set to release in February 2024.
Right.
Um, And so basically, we're preparing for that. We spent a couple of months recording, mastering, mixing, and all of that process. And then, of course, photography, all of the things to get it ready for the label.
Right.
Um, we shipped everything off to Cruz del Sur, our label, and they are in the process of reaching out to you guys and other members of the press to let them know.
Right. Well, that's exciting though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so I wanted to ask you, are there like pros and cons of being like a female in a heavy metal band? I know.
It's I think, well, I guess it depends on who you ask. Some people will say that there's definite benefit to having a female lead singer in a doom metal band right now. I don't know. I've never really thought about positives and negatives. I just enjoy singing and
Right.
I like being in a doom metal band and I recognize and I'm fine with the fact that we still work in an industry that's male dominated and I would I like to see that change and shift? Sure. But I recognize the way it is now and uh but in terms of pros and cons, I haven't really thought about that a whole lot.
Okay.
Um yeah.
Yeah. How did you discover that you could sing?
Well, so I started out, okay, so I'll go back. When I was a teenager, I have a foundation in music. I learned classical piano when I was a
Oh,
teenager, so I have that. That I started with that, but it would take many years later for me to start to think about performing in front of people singing. I also have a background in classical ballet, so I'm used to being on stages, but never as a singer. And I just remember the first time I sang, it was in a cover band. I was absolutely terrified. But over time, and with a lot of training, it's become a lot easier.
right.
And now I love it.
Well, that's good. I love it.
Yeah,
I've heard a couple songs on the album. I'm like, love it. So,
great.
do you have any? Well, I guess you probably do have some musical influences as far as singing.
Oh, for me, are you talking about for me
Yeah.
or for the band?
For well, either, both.
Okay. I mean, for me personally, I grew up in the 80s, so it's the gamut. Everything from hard rock, like Rainbow, Led Zeppelin, anything you can imagine in the hard rock realm, The Cult, and then on to glam rock, and then of course, as the years went on in high school, I gradually evolved into things like thrash metal and so. But in terms of singing and performing, I really look up to Ronnie James Dio and Bruce Dickinson, people like that, Freddie Mercury,
Right.
Rob Halford, all of the biggies.
Yeah.
So Joel Turner, I mean. And then in terms of the band, I mean, our foundation is obviously doom metal with death metal mixed in. And so we are highly influenced by bands like Candlemass, Solitude Eternus, Black Sabbath, Bolt Thrower, My Dying Bride, artists like that.
Okay. What are you listening to now?
What am I listening to now? Actually, on my drive in this morning, I listened to Nine Inch Nails, which is not metal, but
Right?
I'm all over the place when it
Yeah.
comes to influences. Yeah.
I mean, you like what you like. So,
Yes, exactly.
um, I noticed that I think I saw on your Bandcamp that you guys were influenced by mythology. So, do you have like a favorite story from mythology or like favorite god or goddess?
Um, well, so one song that's on our first album called Up from the Depths, um, that has to do with Cerberus. And that's basically the story of the three-headed dog
Right.
that is the companion of Hades. And Cerberus is stolen from Hades and brought to the surface and paraded around, and somehow I just was really attracted to that story because Cerberus was fine where he was fine being the guardian for Hades and fine where he was living, and then all of a sudden he was brought into this world that he didn't want to be in, and that he was being basically treated like a prize, a war prize. And somehow I just really like that story, and it turned out to be a really good song too in the end. But I mean, this new album, it kind of covers a very wide gamut of mythological stories, but also literature. We have um, the lyric video that just came out called Bushido, has to do with a World War II Imperial Army lieutenant from the Japanese Imperial Army named Hiro Onoda, who was a holdout during World War II. He stayed in the Philippine jungle for 29 years, despite the fact that the war was long over.
Right.
So that's not mythology, but it's a place in history, a story from history that I think people would find interesting.
Right.
Um, but there's also a lot of mythology too. Our closing track, which is called Strait of Messina, has to do with uh, a Greek mythology story about two Greek uh, um, creatures named Scylla and Charybdis who guard this Strait of Messina. It's a real place in southern Italy. These monsters were basically, uh, they would just tear apart any adventurers who would come through this strait on a boat. So it's a saying that people use when you're caught between Scylla and Charybdis. It's basically a way of saying caught between a rock and a hard
Yeah.
place, you know,
Yeah.
two equally bad situations. So those are just a couple of examples of the things that led to songs in our catalog.
Right. Like I was a nerdy kid. I took Latin in high school, so that was one of my favorite
That's
things
cool.
was mythology. Because
Yes, yes.
I don't know
There's,
who still teaches Latin, but yeah.
there's it's actually kind of cool because I actually consulted with a professor on some of the lyrical content, and he's very he was very helpful in terms of getting context on where a monster's mindset is, but also he comes from a background of Latin,
Right.
which makes it, a good perspective as well
Right. Yeah, that's
for these
interesting.
lyrics. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I don't know. So if you could go back in time, like where would you go? Not
If I would
between
go
the
back
rock
in
and the
time,
fireplace.
I if I could go back in time, it would be. I mean, I tell people this all the time that I think I grew up in the best era for heavy metal, which
Yeah.
was in the mid to late 80s.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so if I could go back, I would just go back to when I was, 16 years old and enjoy more concerts and not put off or miss shows that I had other excuses to, I wouldn't miss out on shows that happened.
Right.
You know, there were shows that happened when I was too young, like the US Festival, which was like this epic show that was not too far from where I lived. Um, you know, and so yeah, I would go back to the 80s and I would see a whole lot more shows and not put off seeing artists who I can no longer see today.
Right. Yeah, me too. Maybe not the 80s, maybe the
Particularly,
90s, but yeah, I get that.
well, I lived through the 90s too. That wasn't so great for heavy metal, but
No. No.
you know,
No.
the 80s were. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, do you have a songwriting process? Or is every song different?
For this band, it is a couple of different approaches. So, well, I'll start from before I joined this band. Before I joined this band, the group, the original members, wrote 3 songs. No lyrics, well, some lyrics, but mostly music, and they just kind of worked in the studio to build it slowly over time. Um, and then after I joined, basically just added words and melody to those songs. For this album, and I was coming from from ground zero. So in this case, there were a couple of different approaches. I wrote things on piano, melodies, riffs, things like that, and kind of presented them along with some words, vocal melodies, things like that to the guys, and then they either chose to pursue them on guitar, drums, bass, they modified them, or they were scrapped. And then also we have, Nelson Miranda, our guitar player. He also comes up with, we call them skeletons or embryos of songs that are just kind of fleshed out when we're in the rehearsal space, um, and we build songs that way too. So there's a couple of different approaches that we have.
Let's see. Does the band have big plans for 2024?
Yes,
Oh,
we're releasing an album.
yay!
Yeah, we're releasing an album on Cruiseville Sur, and we have several big shows that we've been booked for. The first of which will be Up the Hammers in Athens, Greece. That's towards the beginning of March, and then we will fly home. And about 2 weeks later, we will go to Houston, Texas, and play Hell's Heroes, which is also very exciting for us. We have not played either of those festivals before, so we're very, very grateful for
Right.
the
That
opportunity to
sounds
be doing both.
right. That sounds amazing. Going to Greece.
Yeah,
Houston's not
yeah.
a bad
No,
city, but yeah, Greece.
what's that?
Houston's not bad either.
Right. No, I mean, it's weird. I never thought so. In November 2022 and March 2023, we played Germany. Um, so I never thought I would go to Germany ever in my life. If we played 2 festivals there in a space of 4 months, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, seeing Greece is going to be a dream come true for
Right.
all of us, really.
Right. Yeah. Um. Oh, so last question is, what do you want people to know about your music?
I just want people to know that Stygian Crown, we're an epic doom band. we're slightly unique in that we have a my voice, which I guess a lot of people would consider to be different.
Yeah.
Um, I don't have the traditional female sounding voice, um, but we believe in striking the balance between epic doom and death metal, and that's also kind of a unique thing. Um, so if you are a fan of Candlemass, Bolt Thrower, Solitude Eternus, My Dying Bride, um, then we hope you would give us a shot and give us a listen and buy our merch and go to our shows.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. I love merch. I would buy it all. I would buy it, but
Heck yeah. We have we have we have 4 different types of vinyls that came out this week. It's amazing.
yeah. I've spent way too much this year on band merch, and the year's not over, so I'll probably spend a little bit more.
Can get an expensive habit.
Yeah, yeah, it is. But I like going to concerts and supporting bands, and yeah.
Who are you going to see on Friday?
Oh, A Killer's Confession. I can't remember who
Okay.
else is on the. I can't remember who else is there, but yeah, they're doing like a toy drive and a show, and
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, so it'll be a good
I was
time.
trying to I was checking out your website and I was trying to find like a cohesive theme to it because it was really diverse and eclectic and stuff, and I thought, wow, this is really cool. It's like all over the place.
Yeah, no, it's probably 100% accurate. Like, it sounds like me.
Yeah.
Just everywhere. I don't, yeah, yeah. I mean, I've had it for a long time, and, different interests over the years, and trying to, I don't know, find the right theme. But I'm like, I don't know. I don't think there is one, because, I don't know. I don't want to write about the boring stuff, or, same, 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 same,
Yeah.
same. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said about the art of writing, and because I'm a writer for a living and work in marketing public
oh, okay.
relations, and so I work in higher ed, so it's very focused on one thing, but I also take the time to do freelance for publications so that I can write about other things too. So I'm doing writing all day long. It's not just music.
Yeah,
So it's good to have. It's good to keep your mind working in
right,
multiple ways.
right. Yeah,
So I can respect you know, having multiple interests and exploring those on a website. That's
yeah,
pretty cool.
yeah. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, so that is all I had. But I
Okay.
appreciate you taking the time out of your day to try out this new app with me. It's not a pull
Yeah.
for
No
the app. I
worries.
was just like, ooh, I don't want to do Zoom because I don't want it to be cutting in and out because that's
Yeah.
aggravating for everybody.
I think we all learned the hard way during the pandemic that Zoom isn't always the most reliable, and
Right.
it's definitely not a place that that we liked being at all.
Right.
Um, but in the text of the article, are you going to put some links, or can I mention that now, or
Yeah, I'm gonna put links in the article, but if you want to mention some, that would be cool.
stygiancrown.bandcamp.com. stygiancrown.bandcamp.com. There's like so much stuff on there, it's insane. So check it out. Buy some merch. Waste your money.
It's my favorite.
Yep.
Shopping. I don't know. Might have a fan merch problem, but I'm mostly
Well, you
okay
know
with
what?
it. My checking account's like, no, stop. But
No,
yeah,
it's people. The people that support the underground are like the most important thing of all of us. I mean, that they are the people that keep it going. You
right.
know, people like you going to the shows and supporting the bands and buying the merch. We are so grateful
Oh,
for that.
thanks.
you know, it wouldn't be possible because, being in an underground band I don't know if you've heard, but it's not cheap. We have to pay
No,
for a lot of stuff,
right? Yeah,
and so the merch helps us a lot. It helps bands stay on tour. It helps them be able to travel overseas. So
yeah, very important.
much respect,
Yeah, thank you,
much respect.
thank you. Appreciate you
Yep.
too.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah. Anyway, so I guess I will let you go. But yeah,
Okay.
thank you so much for calling.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Holly.
Okay, thanks.
Take care.
You too. Bye
Bye.
bye.